All right, everybody. So we're here today with Luke, and we're gonna make a family recipe that has been kind of honed by me with a lot of information from family and friends. Give a shout out to Steve Lyon and Meemaw on helping me get my roux, and Meemaw for a lot of the rest of this, and then just a lot of experimenting over the years of getting our roux and gumbo and everything how we like it. So anyway, you can do a roux from a jar, but I've always done a roux from scratch, and it's pretty simple. Set that back down. It is half flour, half vegetable oil. That's it, nothing else. 1 parts. So I'm doing kind of a small gumbo today for just me and my family. So got about a half a cup of all-purpose flour and half a cup of vegetable oil.
Yep.
Now, I have found that making your roux in a cast iron pot or skillet or whatever gives it a good flavor. I have tried it. It's always been with flour, and I've tried it with other types of oils. I've used bacon
oil?
grease. I've used pig lard. The bacon grease and the pig lard taste the exact same as the vegetable oil. I've used butter, and that was interesting. It made the gumbo taste like chicken soup instead of gumbo. So yeah, I found that just ease of use, vegetable oil and flour tends to give me my best results. So I found that a whisk is easy to stir the roux. You want to keep it constantly moving or you will burn it.
Burn.
If you put the heat higher, you can get your roux done faster, but it's much easier to burn. And all you're doing is you're browning the flour. The oil keeps it to where you can move it around, and you're just getting the flour to the darkness that you want it. The longer you cook it for, the darker your roux. Some people like a light roux, some people like a dark roux. I like mine kind of somewhere in the middle. If you cooking on a cast iron skillet or pot or whatever, turn it off right before it gets to the desired color, because the cast iron will hold some heat and it'll cook it a little bit longer. Or it'll darken it up a little bit longer after you have the heat turned off.
And it might be hot, so you not touch it.
That's right. Be careful. Don't touch it.
It would be like burning hot, so you need to put it in the water with your finger.
Yep. Okay. All right, Luke, go ahead, and we're gonna dump both of these in.
I want to mix it, Dad.
Okay. Dump it all in. There you go. Good job.
It's a mountain.
Perfect job. Good job, Luke. All right. Go ahead and take the whisk, and you don't have to do it fast. Just do it slow. Just kind of mix it around. There you go. Try not to scatter it outside the pot.
You not go out the pot.
We're going to go ahead and turn the heat on. That's something you'll have to experiment with, because every stovetop is a little different. Gas is different than electricity. Yeah, so what you'll find is that you'll start to get it going, and it'll start to do a lot of bubbling. The bubbling is whenever the moisture that's in the flour boils off, and then after it finishes bubbling, it'll kind of settle down and just kind of start browning, for lack of a better description. So yeah, we're going to continue doing this, and we'll give you little updates as we go.
And do not make fire with it.
Yeah, don't make fire. That'd be bad. I mean, you really burn it bad. So this is it. Just sit here and just kind of stir and stir and stir and stir. If you walk away from it, you're gonna burn it. So
and this will be on fire.
Yeah, well, hopefully no fire is involved. Yeah, just like I said, the higher you turn the heat, the faster you can brown it, but the easier you can burn it. So if you find that it takes way too long, then you can turn the heat up a little bit. If you find that it's going a little too fast and you're starting to see it, I've seen in mine start to burn pieces of it, you turn it down.
Like
but usually
smoke?
if you
It's a little
like
piece of
smoke.
smoke.
Yeah.
Like a piece of milk.
But typically if you burn it, you ruined it, so you have to start over. So,
Yep.
alright, we're gonna pause this and... Alright y'all, this is what it looks like when it starts to get a little temperature, it starts to get a little heat. You start getting some bubbling going on. It'll do this for a few minutes until it gets the rest of the moisture out of the flour. Luke has taken a break. His little wrist was starting to get tired of constantly stirring. So just be ready to babysit it. Just kind of keep everything moving. Because if you stop, that's when you burn it and you got to start over. All right, we're really bubbling now. Just more of that moisture getting out. Keep stirring. Alright, the bubbling is starting to subside a little bit. We're about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4, 5 minutes into this roux. So bubbling is starting to subside, and after that we typically start seeing some browning going on. Alright y'all, it's starting to thicken up just a hair, and this is normal. It's going to do that as it starts to get the moisture out, and it'll start to brown, so don't freak out when it starts doing this. That's normal, you're doing good. Alright, now we're starting to see some color. Starting to turn a little, I guess, beige would be an accurate description. Give you a reference of time. Got my heat on 6, so probably not a whole lot of information for you. But if you got a Samsung stove, you're good to go. So, looking good, looking good. Alright y'all, the roux is really starting to darken up. Almost to the point where I'm going to turn it off, because that's a little bit lighter than my desired color. So, but it's looking good. Alright y'all, this is my color I shoot for. I have turned the heat off. Continue stirring a little bit just because that cast iron will hold some heat and keep on cooking. That's a time reference. So it's a lot of wrist movement, a lot of paying attention, but not a whole lot of time. And everybody has different methods of making their own roux. This is my method, so don't be afraid to experiment as I have. You'll find what works best for you. And that's a roux right there. So I'm going to continue to move this around until it cools off, but see how it has darkened up just sitting there off of the heat. And just a few more minutes and I'll be able to let it just sit and rest while I continue the rest of the process. Alright y'all, as I've let it cool off and sit for a little while, a few minutes, you can see it has really turned into what you would consider what a roux would look like. So, there you go.
Just remember, don't make it too hot or make fire on it.
Yeah, Luke says make fire. Don't want to do that. The next couple of things we're looking at. Okay, Richard smoked sausage. This is what gives my gumbo a lot of its flavor. I've tried other types of sausages, different brands, different combinations, but this is my go-to. This gives my gumbo a very good flavor. It's sausage that's easy to find. The other thing I like to put is smoked tasso, pork tasso.
Pork tasso.
Now, all tasso is, believe it or not, the Cajuns got it from the Indians in this area. The Indians used to take their tasso and they would smoke it, and so now it's using a lot of the Cajun recipes, but that is the origins of pork tasso. Now, I've used many different brands. I just used Richard's this time because it was easy to find right here at Nunu's next to the house. And but I've also used Savoy's. I've used some from Billy's Boudin right there in Scott at I-10. So different variations of it, but this does give your gumbo a good smoked flavor. I like the way it comes out. So that's my two chicken and sausage gumbo, I guess chicken, sausage, and tasso gumbos. As far as my chicken, you can use white meat, you can use dark meat, you can do bone-in, you can do deboned. My wife likes the chicken breast, so typically I'll do chicken breast.
Chicken
We don't have any chicken
breast.
breast right now because we hadn't been to the store in about a week and a half, practicing our social distancing. So we're going to be using some thighs. A lot of people like to brown their chicken before they put it in their gumbo. I do not. I just put it in there and let the boiling of the gumbo cook the chicken down. And I like to keep it simple, and it works for me, and it works pretty good. So, yeah.
This is how you cut the sausage. It's pretty easy.
Alright, also I put a little bit of water in my pot, and I just go ahead and dump all my ingredients in there. Try not to make too much of a splashing mess.
It looks like that.
Got our master cameraman.
And this is what my dad looks like.
And there's what I look like.
You see, look, it's a bunch. It's a lot.
I usually take my pork tasso and I'll just cut it up into decent sizes. My wife doesn't like it cut up too small because she can't identify what it is.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like it cut up too big because you just got big old chunks.
It's the same thing as we did at the other thing.
Cut it up and put it in. Alright, y'all, so this is just some chicken thighs, deboned. Got this at Champagne's in Dusson. And so I just take my chicken and I cut it into some decent sizes, nothing too crazy.
That's it. You can like go over. They go over there. Ooh, that's a lot of stuff.
Alright, so that's all of our meat that we're going to be using for this gumbo. Just kind of don't put a whole lot of water because as you add the meat, it's going to really fill up. So I only had about maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches of water in that pot, and you can see how full it got when I started adding everything in. Always make sure after you handle raw chicken, wash your hands, wash your utensils. You don't want to spread any salmonella. Alright, y'all, as far as seasonings go, alright, I like to use the Guidry's Triad, we call it. It's a Guidry's seasoning. They put, let's see, I believe it's onion, garlic, a few other things. Comes in a little clear container. Anyway, but my wife is not big on onions. She likes the taste of it, but she doesn't like the texture. So as a substitute, I like to use onion powder instead of onion itself.
Onion powder.
Garlic powder as a substitute for garlic itself. I like to put a little bit of paprika. I put dried sweet bell pepper, just gives it a good flavor, good taste. I put some parsley flakes, and I like to use Tony Chachere's. The Tony's will give it a good flavor. It has some salt in it, so that way you get a good flavor. But be careful how much you add. If you add too much, it'll get it kind of hot. It'll add some heat to it. Yeah, now what I normally do is, now we have all of our meat in the pot here, I'll take my roux and I'll go ahead and scrape it in. And after that, I'll start adding my seasonings, but I will need my cameraman to help me with that. Let me go find Luke. So just to give you some time frame of how long this is taking. All right, so now I'm gonna take my roux, back up, come around this side. And I'm gonna scrape it all into my gumbo.
That's a lot.
Yeah, back up a little bit so they can see what I'm doing. You don't have to get all of it, just scrape it down in there.
Scrape. Scrape on it. These are just a few.
And now we're going to go ahead and start adding our seasoning. Now, a lot of this stuff, they had a meme on Facebook one time, said the way that we season our gumbos is we add seasoning until our ancestors tap us on the shoulder and say, "That's enough, Shaq." And that's a lot how I do it. So we're gonna go ahead and start.
And pour it in. Don't put too much or it'll be like weird looking. Look, you see?
Take a look at what it looks like in there. So that was our onion powder.
Can I do that one?
And then, no, I'm gonna do it. Just need you recording. You're doing a fine job. You don't add quite as much garlic powder. The onion powder is gonna give it good flavor. Be careful, that's hot. The garlic powder will give it flavor, but garlic is a stronger flavor. So if you add too much, you're gonna overdo it a bit. So not quite as much in the garlic powder as you do with the onion powder.
It looks like sand.
Yeah, it does look like sand.
It is
Go ahead and
sand.
add some of the
Hot
paprika.
sand. Hot sand.
paprika.
Hot sand. Super duper hot sand,
Gonna
right?
add our crushed bell peppers.
Spice. No! I don't like that part.
Gonna add some of our parsley flakes.
Yeah. Do y'all like parsley flakes? Because I hate them. Definitely.
Be nice. And gonna go ahead and add some more Tonys.
More Tony.
Now you can always adjust this as you go. If you find that your gumbo tastes kind of bland, you can always add some more Tonys. So then we're going to go ahead and turn our heat on, and we're going to get our spoon.
Can I do it that?
Start mixing things up here.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
we'll be able to do it in 1 second.
You see, it's getting mixed up. You see some of the stuff around stuff. You see how it's turning different colors into green bubbly?
Now we're going to add a little bit of water. You can stay over there.
This is what it looks like so far. Ah, don't make me fall.
Now, don't fill it all the way up to the top. That's about as much as you want to go. Because what's going to happen is, as it starts to get up to temperature, don't touch it, it's going to be hot.
It's going to fall down.
As it starts to get up to temperature, you can stir it, just don't splash. As it starts to get up to temperature, it'll start to boil all the light ends out. And you'll see it's going to make a big froth, like looks like foam. And once all those light ends go away, it'll start going into a hard boil. But that froth can like really easily overflow. All right, don't spill. You got raw chicken in there. It'll overflow your pot and make a big mess. Not the end of the world, just more mess to clean up once you're all said and done. Yeah, we're gonna keep it on the heat, and we'll show you what it looks like when it starts to get. Just a little note: when it's getting up to temperature, you want to move it around a bit, because if you don't, the stuff at the bottom could burn. So just kind of keep in mind, don't let it burn at the bottom. Now, once it starts boiling, you don't have to do this. Once it's hard boiling, everything stays moving around and you won't burn the bottom. But if you, in the early stages, if you don't move it, it's gonna cause some. Starting to get a little froth going there. Just want to show you that. Starting to get a little smell from it. Now, the smell of the gumbo will change as it develops, as it goes. So. And it's noticeable. All right, starting to get a little froth going. This is gonna turn into a lot more froth in a couple of minutes here. Just to give you a time frame of what we're looking at. What I have my temperature on. Yes, here's what happens. It starts boiling hard and the froth really starts to take off. So if you start getting close to the edge of your pot there, turn the heat down a little bit. It'll go through this phase. After this phase, it'll get into just a hard boil, and you can let it go like that all day. Typically, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little longer, you can. But yeah, 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to go a little I've started my gumbos early in the morning and let them boil hard. Look at that, it's already boiled down. Got the lighter ends are starting to dissipate. So yeah, I've started gumbos in the morning and I've let them cook all the way until 4, 5, 6 o'clock. All you got to do is let it boil. If it starts to get low on water, add water to it. Don't add water within like the last hour. I've made the mistake and done that, and it really waters down the taste of the gumbo. So, but don't let it get. The more you boil it down, the more flavor you'll get out of your gumbo. But then the less you have to spread love. So you got to kind of find that happy medium. But anyway, I will let it go like this and just let it boil, checking on it every now and again, but it's kind of on cruise control at this point. And so that's the amount of time it took for it to get on cruise control, and I'll just let it go like this until probably about, I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock, just making sure my water level doesn't get too low, and that'll be it. All right, now it's just got a good hard boil now. Alright y'all, so the gumbo's almost ready. As you can see, it's been going for a while now. One thing I like to do, a lot of times you have a lot of grease. The fats in the sausage and stuff will melt down into grease, and you can skim that grease off the top of the gumbo. If you leave the grease on there, I mean, you can eat it with that, but I just find it makes it greasy. So, yeah, sometimes I'll skim it off the top just to make it a little less greasy. And there it is, y'all. That is how I make my chicken, sausage, and tasso gumbo. I wish you could smell it, but it looks as good as it tastes. So give it a try, see what you think. It does take a long time to get it going, but hey, sometimes good things take time. Most of the time is in the preparation, but like once it's on cruise control, you can just set it and forget it kind of deal, let it boil. But I hope you all enjoyed the video, and go try it for yourself. You got nothing better to do right now. Keep up your social distancing. And again, this was my half recipe. Normally I'm cooking for a lot more people, so I usually do 1 cup of flour to 1 cup of oil, and my pot is usually twice the size of this. So anyway, let me know what you think. Y'all go try it and share some recipes. Bye.
How does it taste? Does it taste good?
Yeah.
Huh?
Move.